Are you ready to grow from good to great? I hope so, because that's what we're here for tonight. Before we get started, I'd like to pass these handouts around. Now, when you see the handouts, you'll notice that there's lots of places on there to write on. And the reason I did that is so you can take your own notes. I'm not here to just tell you everything. I want you to realize for yourself maybe some things that are holding you back, or maybe some ways that you can grow from good to great. It's all about you tonight. It's not all about me. But I will be sharing with you a few things that I hope will spur you on and help you to grow from good to great. We're going to talk about what holds you back. We're going to talk about where do I want to be? Where are you now and where do you want to be? Are you where you want to be? It's my belief that we're never quite there. We never really arrive. There's always something better to go from. Some people say there's joy in the journey, and I truly believe that. There is joy in the journey. Now, as you heard, I did win the district competition in Wilmington in November, but that wasn't the end. I sort of thought that was the end. I thought, this is it. This is what I'm shooting for. But that wasn't the end. It opened up some doors that I'm very thankful for, and there's so many more things that I can do now, and people that really want to hear me talk. They think I'm an expert. I'm really not. I've learned from a lot of people, and today one of those things that I'm going to talk to you about is how important it is for us to have our mentors. If you ever notice, successful people are not on their own. They don't just hang out with themselves or hole up in their house and come up with great ideas that seem to work. Successful people surround themselves with successful people that they want to become like. Okay? So that's what we need to do. And in Toastmasters, we have the opportunity to do just that, because we have a lot of successful speakers in Toastmasters. But it's not all about speaking. It's about gaining confidence, just getting more comfortable with people, and seeing ourselves grow and lifting each other up. That's what it's all about. If you think about your childhood, remember how joyful you felt in the morning? You never hit that snooze alarm. Now, when I was a kid, I don't think they had snooze alarms, but if I'd had one, I wouldn't have hit it, because I was just so excited about going out into the day. I was exuberant. I had enthusiasm. I just wanted to face the day and go out and be with my friends. What happened to our joy? Our joy does not have to be in the past, in our childhood. We can experience joy now. And I think a lot of going from good to great has to do with your enthusiasm for life and your enthusiasm for what you're involved in. And if you don't wake up in the morning and look forward, maybe not to every day, but most days, maybe it's time to rethink what you're doing in life and what you're doing each day. Now, if you've ever heard Craig Ballantyne speak, he was our 1999 World Champion of Public Speaking. If you've ever heard him speak, you'll never forget it. He's a great speaker. One of the stories that he tells is about when he made the decision, the turning point in his life, going from where he worked a job for someone else into public speaking as a business and as his career. It was a tough decision to make, because you can probably imagine, anytime we make that decision to go out on our own or to start our own business, it's a tough decision. Sometimes it's comfortable working for other people and having that pension plan or that insurance. It's hard to give that up and become really responsible for it for ourselves. Well, Craig tells this story about what happened to him. He had won the world championship, and he was ready. He was ready to go out. It was his dream to become a professional public speaker. He had done it a lot already, and he just needed to make that move. He wasn't quite sure. He went home and he talked to his wife, and they talked it over. His boss had offered him a big raise to stay there. You know, it's some pretty good money. Hard to say no to that. So he went home and he talked to his wife, and she said, "Honey, your dream is not for sale." Those words resonated within Craig's heart. And he went back into the office the next day, and they offered him some more money to stay. Wow, he could hardly turn that down. So he goes home and he talks to his wife, and she says, "I told you your dream is not for sale." He went in the next day, and he was ready to go, and he was ready to make the move and ready to make that decision to become a professional public speaker on his own. And he looked right into his boss's eyes, and he said, "My wife says my dream is not for sale." Now, he did make the move, and today we know him as a wonderful speaker, speaking coach, If you've ever read his book, World-Class Public Speaking, or World-Class Speaking, I certainly recommend it. It can make a difference in your life. You can really go from good to great when you have these mentors, these people that have been there, that have done that, what you want to do. So I certainly encourage you to think about that. Now, if you notice on your handout, we have the letters GROW, G-R-O.W. I'm really big on acronyms, and the reason why is I think when we get that in our heads, we can remember it a little better. And if that doesn't work for you, it certainly works for me, and I hope it works for you. So for G, the G stands for Get Over Your Fear of Public Speaking. Now, in a Toastmasters group, that's what we're doing. Some of you may have come in and you were really out there and already speaking to groups and feeling really comfortable. Some of you may have come in like I did. I had never spoken before a group. 7 years ago when I entered Burlington Toastmasters, I wasn't quite sure what it was, but I knew that at that point in my life, some things had happened, some hard times that I had come through. My self-esteem was really low, and I needed something that would build me up. I walked into the Toastmasters group, and I realized that at that time, I didn't care about being a public speaker, but I knew I needed to gain some confidence and to become more comfortable in job interviews and in meetings at work and just around people in general. And that was a turning point in my life, joining Toastmasters. Getting over our fears, and especially public speaking, can take us to new heights. It can help us grow from good. We may have a good life now, but it can help us make it better. It can grow from good to great. And the way we can do that is to put those fears behind. Now tonight you may have other fears, but Toastmasters really faces that fear, helps you face that fear of public speaking, and helps you to grow. So G is to get over your fear of public speaking. R is realize this, that you sell yourself every single day. It doesn't matter what situation you're in, what kind of people you're around, whether it's personal, professional, you sell yourself every day. We sell ourselves by the way we dress, the way we speak to each other. We are a brand. So realize that you're selling yourself every day. Now, I've noticed some things. People outside in shopping centers treat you differently when you're dressed differently. Have you ever seen that? One day I went out and I had my hair pulled back in a ponytail, no makeup on, jeans, a ratty old t-shirt. I was about to mow the lawn. And I thought, I just want to run into Food Lion for a minute. Oh, wow. Do you realize that the next time I went back and I had on my makeup, my hair was done, I was dressed a lot better, I was treated differently. Now, it's sad that that happens, but it happens. And we have to realize that when we present that image, it makes a difference. When we go to work each day, maybe they say, it's okay to wear jeans. But is that the image you really want to present? If it is, it's okay. But make sure that whatever you do is what you want your image to be. I'll tell you a little story. When I was in Wilmington at the contest, afterwards, somebody said to me, you really came to win, didn't you? I said, yes, I did. I had talked myself up into that championship attitude. Now, if I had lost, I wouldn't have been devastated because I grew so much through that whole contest experience. It was well worth it. And let me just say, there were lots of contests in the past that I didn't get past the club level. And I had never been past the area level. But you know, I grew each time, and I learned a lot. And I learned from people who had been there and done that. I learned from mentors that gave me advice. And one of the pieces of advice that I'll give you guys, how many are in contests? I know you're in the contest, right? Is there another one? And you're in the contest. Okay. One thing about it is make sure you look at that judge's ballot, know what they're looking for. It's so important. That was one of the best pieces of advice I could have been given, because in an evaluation you have to sum it up at the end. And one of my mentors told me, make sure you're really clear with that, because if you're not, the judges might not realize that you've met that criteria. So look at the criteria and make sure you meet it. Also, listen to feedback from people who have been there and done that, especially people who have won the International Speech Contest, and especially our world champs. There's a lot of information online that can help you out, and that can help you grow from good to great. Now, it's not just for our contestants either. Any of us that want to improve our public speaking skills, we can learn from each other. And I think that's what we need to do, to grow from good to great as a speaker. When I was in Wilmington, one of the things that I really made a mistake on, I didn't realize that we were going to be offered the opportunity to wear one of those little mics that goes around your ear, or the kind that clip on your lapel. And you know, you have to have that little pack that clips on your belt or the top of your pants. Well, I didn't wear pants. I didn't wear a skirt. I wore a dress. I couldn't use those mics. I was the only contestant that had the handheld mics. And let me just say, that can do a little something for the way you feel. You know, I was talking myself up to feel like a champion. But you know what? I also realized that I didn't need to let that steal my joy and bring me down, because it was just going to happen. I was going to have to hold a handheld mic, and I was okay with that. But I thought about that, and I tried not to dwell on it. I thought about that. I thought, is this giving me an edge, or is this making me look less than a champion, less professional? Because it limited me. I had to hold the mic and gesture with one hand, and maybe switch, but it limited me. It's so much better if you don't limit yourself. I had limited myself. So just to caution you guys on that, don't limit yourself. But if you do, don't dwell on it, because that can keep you from going to good to great. Anytime we have anxiety, it can keep us down. Have you ever noticed that? When you're anxious and worried about something, it just shuts you down. Shuts you down. If there's something you can't control, try to put it out of your mind and get the job done. That's what we have to do. So G was to get over your fear of public speaking. R is to realize you sell yourself every single day. And O is about other people. To be successful, we have to network with other people. We have to give each other good feedback as Toastmasters. We have to be supportive. But other people, when I think about that, going from good to great is really twofold. Networking is great, but there's something that's just as important. And I believe it's doing something for people every day. To do something nice and helpful for people every day. To build them up or help them out with a task. And if you look for those opportunities, you'll find that you've created that successful image of yourself in the eyes of others, because you've been that person that's been helpful, that's gone the extra mile, that didn't just look at someone completing a task and having trouble and walk the other way. It does make a difference how we treat people. So for other people, network with other people, but also make sure you follow that golden rule. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. It works very well. And look for things every day. Okay, W. And this is something that we don't often talk about, but in the business world I think it's so important. I know it is in the company that I work for, writing skills. Do you realize that sometimes it's that email? We're so electronic these days. Sometimes it's that email that is our first impression with others. Sometimes before they even see us. Today, I happened to be in the ladies' room at work, and I was talking to one of the ladies in there. We had seen each other probably for the last few months, and we started talking. And then she said, "What's your name?" And I told her. She said, "Oh, you're that G.R.O.W." And I said, "What's your name?" And she told me, and I said, "Oh, I've heard your name. I've seen it on a million emails." Had no idea who she was. I already had a perception of who she was by her emails. And she was grammatically correct in her emails. That was great. But sometimes when we pop off an email quickly, we make mistakes. And that shows an image of us. That creates an image for other people, especially when they don't know us. And even if they do, sometimes they'll think, did she just not care to take the time to make it right? Now, if you were at the TLI in either Charlotte or Raleigh, you may have seen my Rock Your Evaluation presentation, and if you did, you saw that I showed a little video clip from a lady called Christine Cashin. Now, she was talking about late night giggles, because sometimes when you work late at night, you get the giggles and things don't go as planned, and this is what caused her late night giggles after the fact. She was talking about email, and how she had gotten an email from one of her clients who had tried to buy a DVD online. The DVD deal didn't work out, and the client had emailed her and said, "This isn't working out for me. I can't get my payment to go through." Christine was going to type back an email that said, "Don't worry about it, I'll handle it. I'm sorry for the inconvenience." When she hit send, you know how sometimes it takes just a minute to go? She had spell checked it. She saw no red squiggly lines, but when she hit send, she saw it. Instead of sending her customer, "Sorry for the inconvenience," she had sent, "Sorry for the incontinence." Oh. She's screaming, no, no, but it's too late. So then with it being late at night, she decides she better send another one. And she says, I'm sorry about that, if you have incontinence, blah, blah, blah. And it just got worse. And she said, that kind of gave her the late night giggles later in the night. But, when we do things like that, things that can be avoided, it shows the kind of person we are a lot of times in the other person's eyes. Or maybe it gives them the perception of someone we're really not. Now, the other day at work, I had one of those moments. I sent out this email, and it was to this management team. And it had all of the attachments. Sometimes I'll send them out without attachments, and that's really embarrassing because then you're like, I'm really sorry. Here you go with the attachments now. But this time I had all the attachments. I looked at it, spell-checked it, looked at it again, looked great. I thought, here we go. Hit send. I was fine with it. I didn't see anything. I didn't scream no at the computer. The VP sent me back an email. Are we supposed to bring our own attachments, or will you print these for us? I had forgotten one little sentence that I always put every month for that meeting. So I had to backtrack. I'm sorry, thanks for bringing this to my attention. And here, guys, we're going to bring these, and I'll print them for you. I'll make your packets like I do every month. But just to leave people wondering, that doesn't really show that we've made it, that we're going from good to great, that we're successful. So don't cut yourself down. Don't make yourself look less than you are. Build yourself up in other people's eyes. Go from good to great. G, get over your fear of public speaking. We're all doing that here now. R, realize that you are the one that sells yourself every day, your image. O, it's all about other people. Networking and bringing those other people into a better place by helping them out every day. And W, don't forget those writing skills. It makes a difference in your emails. Who's got a Facebook page? Anybody have a Facebook page? Okay, it makes a difference there too. Now sometimes we put some stuff on there that's a little less than business-like, and that's okay because that's what Facebook is all about. But let's be really careful about how we portray ourselves there, because it does make a difference. Whatever you want to portray yourself as, do it. Now, I just want you to remember that joy that you felt when you were a kid, right? When you're growing from good to great, it's all a process. It's all a process. Let's get up in the morning. Let's be enthusiastic. Let's be ready to go. Let's put things into practice that can help us to grow. If you look on your sheet there, maybe now or maybe when you get home, you might want to feel something out. What are the things that are hindering you, that are holding you back? What's keeping you from growing to good to great? Is it anxiety in your life that you need to let go of? Is it hanging out with negative people? When we think about other people and hanging out with those successful people, we also need to know that we need to look at the people we're hanging out with now. Are they negative? Are they always dragging us down? The way you see success makes a difference. I read a blog this week. It was actually one of my Facebook friends that posted it. And I don't always agree with everything that he posts in his blogs, but this I had to agree with. He said that the way you see success and successful people, and the way that your friends and the people you hang out with see success and successful people makes a difference. You've seen people who look at people who are successful and they're always putting them down and trying to drag them down. If you hang out with those kinds of people, it's going to be harder for you to rise to the top. We need to be around people who think the way that we do, who see things the way we do, who are positive, who aren't so negative and dragging everybody down. So that's another way to grow from good to great. Now, don't forget my acronym, G.R.O.W. It can make a difference in your life. You really can grow, not just as a Toastmaster, as a business person. You can grow as a mom or dad. You can grow no matter where you are, from good to great. Are you ready to grow from good to great?